All right, and welcome to our first match. This is going to be Team Lizhorn versus Pete's Angels. And if I was smart, I would look up the player names before jumping into this. I believe we have Team Lizhorn on the left. But right now we're just going to say Team Blue and Team Red because my mistake, I accidentally did not look at team names. I was doing all the hundreds of streamer things except for looking up who all the members are. But I believe, yeah, Team Lizhorn should be on the left. They are the home teams they should set up, and Pete's Angels should be on the right. Now, we have Stukov being banned out here. He is allowed for these games, so banning him out, he's just strong. And on Tomb of the Spider Queen, from what I'm seeing, it looks like he actually works as a solo laner. That's the turn-ins as well. Is like he's just really strong on those points too. Anubarak's gonna be banned out here, trying to limit that tank pool where just he's a very, very high prioritized hero right now. But there's still, I mean, you still have Arthas, you still have Stitches, Varian. I mean, Arthas Stitches, I think, over Varian because of the fact that they have lane clear. Arthas doesn't really have that great of... Not Arthas. Varian doesn't have that great lane clear. But they're going to go ahead and first pick the Sylvanas. And I think that they're really going to try and focus on just pushing into the lanes with Pete's Angels right here. They're going to be looking to definitely... especially with the Sylvanas, you can prioritize the Web Weaver phase and really push into the enemy forts. It just gives you a lot of utility, and it keeps the Web Weavers up a little bit longer for that lane. On Lizhorn's team, though, Team Lizhorn, they're going to go ahead and pick up the Rhaegar and Uther, so they're going to pick up two top healers. Is this Cho'Gall? Ariel's going to be picked up for Pete's Angels and the Gul'dan. So the Gul'dan's going to provide a lot of good wave clear. The Ariel's going to be just getting a lot of heals off of the Gul'dan, I believe. Or a lot of energy, or hope, from the Gul'dan. So they've locked in a lot of good lane push. A lot of... a solid healer, a solid mage with wave clear. They're going to ban out the Stitches, limiting that high tier hero pool or tank pool a little bit more. If it was Cho'Gall, they have to pick it in this next phase. Also, by the way, Zul is a strong ban here because his W build is it just clears. You just push with it all day. I don't think it will be because you would have probably banned out the Malthael, but maybe they're just taking a calculated risk. It just seems like the Uther Rhaegar first pick, you would go into that because you take the Rhaegar for the Ancestral for the second health bar.
Detected.
Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Roosterbot. So, and then they're going to be picking up Kerrigan and Tyrande. So it looks... Are they going 4 healers and an assassin? Because Kerrigan just queues on the waves all day. The Ravage build... I mean, she's just got very good wave clear. So the rotations... I was actually talking with someone about this last night, and they were informing me because I saw them do it in their draft, and they picked up Lucio with this. And I was like, oh, they took Lucio for the faster rotations. And they said, no, we didn't take Lucio for that. Like, it's great and all to have him with the speed boost and everything at level 1. But what the big thing was the Kerrigan and rotating between the lanes with the Kerrigan also to clear it up faster. And they also took the Lucio as a counter to Diablo. Every time you shadow charge in, he would just boop him back. And I was even asking the guy, I was like, what's like the time frame to do that? And he goes, oh, just like fractions of seconds. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Arthas is going to be picked up here, though, with Joanna. So that's a really, really strong, well-put-together comp on the side of what I believe to be Pete's Angels. Cho'Gall would have been so hot. Who needs tanks these days? But I'm honestly thinking this might be a Lucio. I think a Lucio wouldn't... Like, I think a Lucio's plausible. That's the thing. Or maybe they're going to go into a tank with it. But Arthas was taken, and Arthas is pretty good. But they also limited the tank pool. So were they... Or they're just holding this off till the last second. So I can take Jaina.
New follower detected.
Oh, thank you, Servo Stopper. I'm looking at this comp and I'm like just trying to figure it out. Like the Kerrigan, I can see how it would make sense, I guess. Okay, let me just check my names really quick. Alrighty, and so on the left-hand side, we are going to be having Team Lizhorn with Ryan Rad on Uther, Chambers on Jaina, Machiavel on Kerrigan, The Weight on Rhaegar, and Paradox on Tyrande. On the right-hand side, we are going to have Pete's Angels with Hopscotch on Ariel, Shoot to Splat on Gul'dan, Short Spider on Joanna, Flyboy on Sylvanas, and Shonathan on Arthas. If I got any of these wrong, just go ahead and just like, just correct me in Twitch chat. And also I'm looking over, I am casting Regen on Thursday at 10 EST for Chair League. Okay, so here we go into our first Chair League match of the evening. These are best of threes, so please stay tuned. Going into Tomb of the Spider Queen here. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, so here we go into our first game. Let's take a peek at some of these first level talents. We're having the Sharpening Blades from the Kerrigan. Joanna will be taking Block. Arthas will be taking his Frost Presence. Looks like standard build from Uther, Rhaegar. Sylvanas is going to be going for the Overflowing Quiver. Some of the, I know most of the talents, icons and what they do, but sometimes I don't know their, technical names. So I always have to hover and check because it's, trying to learn every single talent for, 60-some heroes. Okay. I wouldn't be too surprised to see the Corruption from Gul'dan. The Corruption stacking is really, really... Yep, there it is. Alrighty. So all of our first level talents are picked, except for Tyrande. She does go for the Lunar Flare build. The cheese is out, and here we go. So Kerrigan waiting in the bushes, trying to see if she can scout something out here. Jaina will be, and this is what is very strong with Jaina. She can just put her Frost in the middle, or her Blizzard in the middle, and it does easily just clears out the wave. Kerrigan hops in, gets a combo onto the Gul'dan. There is going to be the follow-up stun from the Uther and the Tyrande, but they will not be confirming the kill. There is more damage coming out from the Jaina, but unfortunately they are going to be healed up from the Ariel. And it looks like we are going to be doing... Okay, so they're going to be doing their 4-man rotations. They're going to be putting Rhaegar on bottom against the Joanna, which that should be fine. Jaina will be rotating into bottom as well. Uther getting a huge root at the beginning of this. Kerrigan's going to be getting a combo into the Ariel, into the Uther, and that is a little terrifying, but there is a counter root onto the Kerrigan, and she will be falling here, actually. This will be a strong little push with... Oh, nope, they're going to be going ahead and just doing the 4-man rotation. So they're going to be coming here into mid, just to push this up, and this is going to be very strong on the side of Pete's Angels because of the fact that they've got the advantage on these rotations because there is no Kerrigan. They really start to dwindle the cannon shots from Team Lizhorn's towers, and by doing that, they drafted such a good wave clear. I mean, even at level 3, they've got really quick wave clear. I'm curious to see, they're clearing quicker than the minions can actually spawn up to the gates. That's just insane to me. So Arthas will be kind of scouting out this rotation here. He's going to be getting the Kerrigan. There should be a stun onto him, and he will actually be falling from the combo from the enemy team. So that is exactly what they're looking to do. They're looking to find some of these members out of position, and they're just going to combo one of them. And without that person, they say, you know what? We can't keep fighting. We're going to have to go ahead and just back off here. So Arthas will be spawning right now. He's coming right back in. He did lose a couple gems, it looks like. Not many, though. So we will be just having these laning phases going back into play with the Arthas now in the fight. So let's take a quick peek at some of these talents while we're just having some turning in and some laning. Looks like we're actually going to be having the Holy Fire from the Uther at 4. Jaina's going into a piercing bolt build. Sylvanas is taking the Shadow Dagger at 4, which I believe is the cooldown reduction against heroes. Yep. Okay, so back into this laning rotations. We do have enough for turn-in for both teams at this point. Excuse me, only for Team Lizhorn. My mistake. I wasn't doing math correctly. Surprising. So we are going to be having them rotate into bottom, where the rotations weren't as normal, but there is a huge combo from the Kerrigan and the Jaina as well, and they really just start to chunk the health from Pete's Angels. So that's the Ariel going to be falling here. They definitely going to have to give up this turn-in phase, and this is going to be the first Web Weavers going over to Team Lizhorn. So with that, they are going to be pushing these lanes up a little bit here. Now, I did talk about the fact that Pete's Angels, they definitely have a stronger lane clear and a faster one at that, but at the same time, it looks like this combo has been practiced so many times that a lot of the members of Pete's Angels are playing extremely safe at this point and really don't want to get caught out, because it seems like if you get that first Kerrigan hop and that Tyrande stun, it's just game over at that point for most of the heroes. Kerrigan does go in. There's a huge Lunar Flare onto 3 of the members. There's Jaina just getting so much value out of that. Oh no, and the last second, the little bit of damage hits Arthas, and he will be falling here too. And that 3-man stun really set the ball in motion for this team. Team Lizhorn is really going to be pushing into this gate quite hard. They might be able to actually confirm the fort. Kerrigan does leap in. There's a 2-man stun onto some of the members. This Gul'dan and Ariel falling, and this combo is just tearing Pete's Angels apart. We are actually seeing, I believe Sylvanas is already up and just playing extremely safe by the gates. They give up this fort, and it looks like they'll be getting a root onto the Jaina, but there won't be any follow-up damage, unfortunately. There's an unmounting bird from the Tyrande. In bottom, though, Joanna has been working quite hard to get these 21 gems. That is literally all the gems for their team. Rhaegar does sniff this out, and she's going to have to go ahead and back off here. They don't have enough for turn-in on the side of Team Lizhorn. I just did one cast, so I'm trying to switch the team names already for myself. Alright, so Gul'dan Flame coming out here, trying to push back some of these lanes. And while we have some of these rotations, let's take a quick peek at some of the talent questing. I don't want to focus too much on the questing in case there's a combo from the Kerrigan is what I'm afraid of. But looks like Gul'dan's just getting near the end of his corruption stacks. Look for those to really explode in the later game. Uther is getting close to his, but we are actually having a Lunar Flare onto the Arthas. He will be getting body blocked. Actually, it seemed like he actually got pushed back into the Blizzard, but that is going to be a dominating control over these team fights by Team Lizhorn. Pete's Angels, they have a really, really good comp for wave clear, and as well as, like, it's very strong, but what Team Lizhorn has drafted here is just a team that lives, and at 10 with the Ancestral, we're going to have the Divine Shield from Uther, the Ring of Frost, Kerrigan's going to have her Maelstrom, and the Starfall from the Tyrande. That's going to be just even more devastating. Now, the Horrify that you're probably going to get from the Gul'dan, the Aegis that you can get, is going to start saving lives. The Shield Bash... It's not Shield Bash. I'll have to look. I'm assuming she's going to be taking the stun at 7, the stun at 10 for Joanna. And the Wailing Arrow is going to be really, really useful here, but we are going to be seeing a collapse onto the Joanna. She does have her Indestructible. She will be getting out here. The slow is there from Rhaegar, but it will not be confirming the kill. Now, this is a 10-9 fight, so they really need to play extremely safe here. The Starfall is already out. Kerrigan does have the D-Shield. She does get the stun onto the Joanna. She didn't have another Indestructible. That's 35 gems going to be falling and being zoned away by Team Lizhorn, and that is an extremely strong critical pick they just got. That is going to be turning the game around. I mean, it's still just going to be pushing the game in their favor. Because of the fact that there are not 31 gems anymore, they have to work their way back up for another turn-in, and that is just going to be devastating on the side of Pete's Angels. Kerrigan does hop in for another stun, but it does not connect on to any of the members of Pete's Horn, so they're starting to get used to how these rotations of these stuns are happening. So at this point, they're going to play a little bit safe. They're going to take the long rotation into this fight. They don't want to get caught out here. The blind is there. They still don't have 10. There is a hop from Kerrigan, but there's a huge Ring of Frost on two of the members. We're actually going to be seeing the Ariel already falling here. That is also going to be the Arthas falling too. Look to see Joanna falling as well. Gul'dan is out of... he's just going to get caught out. There is a combo from the Kerrigan onto him. The Rhaegar has to use his Ancestral to keep the Uther alive. Does Kerrigan get the extra auto attack? She does, and that is going to be a 4-for-1 trade. Meanwhile, though, in top, a Web Weaver was pushing onto that keep gate, so they are going to be losing that keep gate and towers. And with that, though, they do have their mid pushed in quite significantly, and that is going to be all the cannon shots off of it as well, so the minion wave is going to be pushing in extremely hard. In bottom, they're going to be confirming this as well. This should push them to 13. We do have 10s on the side of Pete's Angels. We do have the Aegis, the Horrify, the Blessed Shield, the Sindragosa, and the Wailing Arrow. The Army of the Dead I thought would have been the go-to pick, but the Sindragosa might help them when they start to... I think they're hoping that they'll get some momentum behind them. Sindragosa will push them a little bit further forward in some of the pushes that they can get. They're only 4 away from a turn-in. Excuse me. They're getting there. So they're just 1 away from a turn-in at this point. Team Lizhorn doesn't have enough return, so what they're going to be doing is rotating into the boss. They have their 13s. Ancestral's up in 20. I don't know if this is going to be scouted out by Pete's Angels because of the fact that they didn't rotate through the minion wave. The bird does go out, so it is pretty obvious where they are at this point. We do see some of the members posturing up. They do stand in the center of the ring, but there is actually a huge Horrify, but it does not connect onto the members who are on the point. So the zoning from, oh my god, the Wailing Arrow connects into so members, but there is the D-Shield from the Uther onto the Kerrigan. She does get into this backline so well, but there is the Aegis from the Ariel, which will be protecting the Arthas right now. And there is going to be a stun and a combo onto the Joanna. There is a leap from the Rhaegar onto her, and she will be falling. He will be falling. Gul'dan is trying to just throw damage back into the enemy team. There is a root from the Arthas. They're trying to slow this down. Ariel just needs to get a little bit of more hope, but Arthas unfortunately will be falling here as well. And meanwhile, this boss has been pushing onto the keep, so this is quite strong. They should be able to kill the boss beforehand. It should not be too much of a problem. Alrighty. So we are going to be having some of these members rotating into mid. They're going to be trying to work towards their 13 talents on the side of Pete's Angels. For Team Lizhorn, they definitely got a good amount of push out of that boss, especially an extremely strong team fight for themselves. It looks like ultimates are just about coming back for majority of the team members here for both sides. They have been saving this fort very well, so that's going to at least... save them in the next Web Weaver push. They are short on the side of Team Lizhorn, so they cannot get that just yet. And the waves are so significantly pushed forward that they don't want to lane too far forward and have to run back all the way from, you know, the forts on the side of Pete's Angels all the way to Team Lizhorn's, you know, gates. That's too far of a rotation to make, and then you could possibly get caught out or picked off, and especially with 13s being so close, that's an even talent tier. So at this point, we're seeing Team Lizhorn playing extremely safe. They just want to monitor these turn-in points. There is enough for Pete's Angels to get a turn-in, but I'm wondering if they're going to be trying to take this team fight. They need to wait till 13. And they also need to push up their waves just a little bit more because of, you know, the further up it is, the more value you get from the spiders. The spiders slowly lose some of their health over time. Actually, they lose their health over time. This push right here should confirm them to, yep, they have enough. They also have way more than enough gems. While we rotate into these turn-in points, let's take a quick peek at some of the 13 talents. This is definitely the time they have to take the fight before this 16. Otherwise, they're going to have to be waiting another 3 levels to really try and get a turn in. So they do get it actually on the side of Team Lizhorn. They slowly accrued enough gems. So this is going to be Pete's Angels. They really need to play safe at this point. They're going to all Hearth back to their core. Looks like they're showing in top to go up against this keep. Guarantee them that strong boss wave. Top lane is the priority in this map. The huge silence comes out. The Center Ghost is there for the slow. They're collapsing upon some of these members, but the turnaround is there. The Horrify is there for also. There is a kill onto the Sylvanas. The Aegis is there onto the Arthas, and so many members are falling low here. There is a stun and kill onto the Gul'dan. Will Ariel be able to make it out of here? Live Rhaegar does dive forward. There is a stun, but there is some body blocking from the Rhaegar, and that confirms 4 kills. And this looks like it is going to be a push onto the core. Kerrigan is trying to combo onto this Ariel, and it looks like with this Webweaver on the core and the team already here, looks like we are going to be having the first game going over to Team Lizhorn. GG, well played. Alrighty, and welcome to our second game in the series with Team Lizhorn taking the first one up against Pete's Angels. On the left-hand side, once again, we do have Team Lizhorn, and on the right, we have Pete's Angels. So we are going to Sky Temple here. A decently large map where globals are part of the priority here, I would say. But we are going to see another ban from a Nubarak here. And I wonder what they're going to be busting out on the side of Team Lizhorn. They had that extremely strange comp first game with 3 healers and 2 assassins. So literally a tankless comp. And so that honestly, but it was it picked the enemy team apart. So I'm wondering what they're going to be picking up here. They got the first pick Uther once again. And that Uther in the last game was extremely strong. So at this point, if you're Pete's Angels, like what do you take here to kind of shake things up a bit, because they drafted such an odd let's call it standard comp.
Detected.
Well, thank you so much. Short Spider 90. All right. Because it's such an odd comp to deal with that how do you then say, like, all right, this is the next game. They just whipped out a tankless comp and won. How do we beat that? So they're going to go ahead and pick up the first pick Falstad. They're going to go ahead and get that global priority. Dahaka's still available here, and he is a very strong healer. But we did talk about in the scrim we just had on Warhead Junction that Dahaka and Falstad can anti-synergize, so they need to be very careful about their rotations. Who's using their global where? Maybe they're going to counter it with like an all-global team. It's a dumb thing that I've always wanted to try. I need to like just bust it out in quick match one time and just completely lose with it. But who knows? You never know. It could work, depending on the map. Knowing my luck, I would get like Brax's holdout. So they're going to go ahead and pick up the same 3 healers once again. Now, the question I'm curious to ask here is, do they ban out the Kerrigan again? Because looks like they're trying to run the same draft on the side of Team Lizhorn. But it could also pair well with another hero that we're not realizing. It could be a bait towards the Kerrigan Jaina. I'm not sure. They're going to look to ban Medivh here. Now, Medivh does provide extremely good... Oh, they're hovering Kerrigan. I saw a message from my friend that forgot that he left my stream on, and when he walked back in, I was talking, and he was scared. So, looks like they're going to be banning out the Kerrigan on the side of Pete's Angels. They don't want to deal with that combo once again because it looks like that's the way the draft is going. Now, this could be a bait. We don't know what Team Lizhorn is going to go for here. Okay. All right. Malfurion will be banned out. So it looks like they're really just picking up and taking away all of the healers they can. Now, Ariel is still available. And Vala does pair well with Ariel, but they're still missing... Well, they could just pick up... What I'm afraid of is that somehow Lizhorn is going to get more healers, and it's just going to cripple Pete's Angels. I'm not sure, though. Because Lily's still up. We still have Ariel, Tassadar. I'm forgetting one. I always do. Morales, there it is. And Morales actually is... With the global she has...
New follower detected.
Oh, thank you so much, Silent Plate TV. And the bar just popped up right in front of your thing. I'm sorry. But thank you for following. Alrighty. So the last two, or the next two picks here. We're going to have Artanis. Do we have a Morales with that then? Nope, we're going to have the Ariel. I was wondering if they were going to go into... It doesn't really work. I mean, why would you pick up a third global? But I was thinking they would take like medevac and they could backdoor the core. But then again, I mean, that doesn't work very well. They're going to need some damage here. They can't run 5 healers. I mean, they can, but I really hope they don't. Lily and... Tassadar are still available, and so is Morales, but they need something else here. They need their damage. The Jane is still available. That seemed to work very well with their combo last game. But what do they get for the initial dive? Do they run an Illidan with this? There are blinds from the Ariel, so Varian's picked up here with the Jaina. Okay, so literally all that's changed on the side of Team Lizhorn is they got a little... I was going to say tankier, but I have a feeling that they're just going to go Twin Blades for some reason. The only thing that I'm worried about is the blinds that you get from the Ariel against the Varian if he does go into the Twin Blades. But we'll see, because I'm thinking you could go into the Taunt as well. Because the Taunt lock on someone, and then you can follow up with the Tyrande Lunar Flare, the Jaina combo, the Uther Stun, the Rhaegar just bite and slow from the totem. So this is looking like it's still got the dive that the Kerrigan had, it just doesn't have that follow-up extra stun combo. So looking at this, they're going to need their main damage dealer. I'm assuming it's going to be Vala, but let's go Tracer. It's going to be Kael'thas, actually. I was thinking that the Vala or the Tracer might buff the Ariel a little bit better, but the Kael'thas... It does provide a little bit of lockdown. And they have also got the swaps in the tongue from the Artanis and Dahaka. Okay, well. I saw someone in chat mention that I didn't give a prediction to who I think would win. At this point, the double global has my vote, but Team Lizhorn, they are scary with the way that they're running their comp. So, on the left-hand side, we have Team Lizhorn with Chambers on Jaina, Malkovil on Uther, Ryanrad on Varian, The Wade on Rhaegar, and Paradox on Tyrande. On the right-hand side, we have Pete's Angels with Hopscotch on Ariel, Shoot to Splat on Falstead, Shonathan on Artanis, Not a Snake on Dahaka, and Servo Stopper on Kael'thas. Alrighty, and loading into our second game of the evening. Let's take a quick peek at some of these first talents. Rhaegar going into the Lightning Bond, Jaina going into her Spear build. Uther looks standard. Varian, I think, is leaning towards that taunt build. So I think that's going to be that 10 taunt that I was talking about, where you're going to taunt into the Starfall, into the Ring of Frost, into the they've got so much on the side of Team Lizhorn. But at the same time, I have faith in the double global. And I have faith in Kael'thas. So let's see where this match takes us. We're actually going mage build on the Falstead, too. So we're going to go ahead and have Pete's Angels. They're going to go ahead and capture the vision, because that's how you always win a game. And as I said, their draft won, so they just won the game. That's my excuse if I need to bow out if they don't win this. They won the game by getting vision. So we are going into a first little skirmish here in mid. Artanis dashes through. No swap out yet. We are going to be having Dahaka rotating into bottom, and Varian just going straight into top against the Falstead. KT, I don't think I mentioned this. KT did not go convection stack, so he's just going to be worrying about getting those globes with his Mana Addict at level 1. Let's just check into some of the laning here. Looks like bottom isn't going to be too big of a deal. Dahaka might get a little bit of damage onto him, and actually we're going to see Dahaka falling quite low here. Rhaegar might go in for the bite, and it's not going to be happening. I do not think Dahaka has enough essence at this point to really go up against this Rhaegar. But in top, we are actually seeing a potential gank onto the Falstead. That's not going to be happening, because mid is currently getting pushed in extremely fast because of the Tyrande rotating out of the lane for that pick. So they do get a tower down here. It's a little bit of an advantage on the side of Pete's Angels that Dahaka is soaking up as much as he can in bottom as well. So we are going to be having this first temple phase will be top and mid. The next one after this will be in bottom, so we watched a lot of teams to try to rotate into that area right beforehand. Uther is going to back off, not going to get picked off from the in Falstead. I was thinking the warp, the dash and prism from the Artanis was not connected onto the Uther, so that's going to keep him safe. And actually in bottom we're going to have Rhaegar going up against Dahaka still, so that is going to delay them a little bit. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and trade these out. Artanis checking that bush just to make sure no one's going to be rotating into them. They are actually leaving this point. Okay. I was going to say they're going to go to top and contest it and leave the bottom unfinished. So it looks like they're going to be rotating in, but it's going to be a little bit too late. And actually, Uther's going to go ahead and steal those last couple shots. And so with that, that is actually going to be the last couple shots actually going over to Team Lizhorn. Stun is out from Tyrande. So after this, we are going to be seeing another laning phase here. People are going to be looking to reach their 7s before the next temple phase in bottom. So in the meantime, while we have that, let's take a quick peek at some of these level 4 talents. Looks like Falstead's taking his Leeching Life. Ariel's actually taking the Heavy Burden. Tanis is taking the, I believe, the Shield Battery? Shield Surge. I'm just trying to look for anything that looks a little weird. Varian's still going pretty tanky here. It's probably going to be into that taunt. It's nothing out of the ordinary, at least to me. The only thing is the Falstead without going into the mage build is a little bit much, especially if he's going to be laning with this Artanis, who is going to get the swap onto the Varian, who dashes forward. He will have the protects to keep himself out of too much danger, and we are having the Jaina rotate up right away to make sure that they do not miss any soak in these lanes. Checking into mid here. Looks like the experience advantage is going slightly over to Pete's Angels, and that's going to be a little bit useful, especially with the temple phase starting quite soon. We are seeing a few members going back, getting full. Varian is going to be rotating in this bottom to make sure he doesn't miss too much experience. Falstead is in top currently, so he can come down at any point right before the beacon phase. They do have this vision, so it does help them a little bit as these, if there is a rotation onto him or anything. Alrighty, so we are going to be having the beacon phase start right now. Artanis is going to be dashing forward. No swap that comes out. They will be clearing this out. Falstead looks like he's going to get that hard camp in top lane and fly right into the team. So this is going to be timed out just as the other hard camp is kind of pushing into mid. Jaina is going to stay in top, though. We are going to be having the rotation in from the Tyrande. some of the teams coming in here. Looks like with the Jaina still being top, pushing back those waves, they're going to go ahead and forfeit this for the time being on the side of Team Lizhorn. This will be controlled by Pete's Angels. Posturing up. Oh, they were trying to get... I see what they were doing. They were putting the Ariel in the bush so that the swap would come in. They could get a whip into the wall, and it would just be a double stun up against someone. But they are just going to put one person onto the shrine at this point and at least have the Dahaka go back up to top, soak that lane up. And they will be getting the last couple shots off of this. They can leave this. And it looks like even with this temple, it's still just about the same. There's a huge swap onto the Uther, who will get comboed into the wall and be picked off. Now, he does have his healing in ghost form, so he will be keeping the team alive. There is no swap out from the Artanis just yet, but they can pressure this fort. Falstad will be flying, it looks like, up into mid lane, just to go ahead and push up that wave as best as possible. They're going to want to work for 10s here. The next temple phase should be in about 2 minutes, if not shorter. I believe it's shorter at this point, because I think it randomizes after the first one. But at least when you're playing the game, it feels like it's every 2 minutes. So this double global is being utilized extremely well here. We are seeing the experience advantage going over to Pete's Angels. There is a stun onto the Falstad, but he will get out here. We are actually going to be... Oh, almost the swap onto the Varian. He does get whipped into the building. The Purify Beam was picked up from the Artanis, which is a little bit odd, kinda. There's no blind, but there's not a whole lot of people to blind currently. There is actually a huge baited stun from the Uther, but without that Kerrigan like they had the last game, they cannot run a combo just yet. Varian looks like he will be taking Taunt, the Ring of Frost from the Jaina. Bloodlust is actually from the Rhaegar, and Starfall from the Tyrande. Phoenix was picked up as well as Adaptation on the side of Pete's Angels. So we are having a small skirmish in mid. Looks like they are trying to pick off this Falstad, but they do not have the tools to do it yet. And with this global, we're slowly starting to get a little bit more of an advantage on the side of Pete's Angels. This global is putting so much pressure that the rotations that they have to make as a 5-man, because that's how this team works, is starting to kind of slow them down experience-wise, because of the fact that, you know, they have to be together. They can't separate. Now, this also benefits them on some of these points, because if they want to take a fight, they need to take it 5v5. You don't want to be trying to go up against the enemy team 4v5, especially with that Rhaegar so close that he can rotate back in, plop Bloodlust. The boss is actually going to be started here, sniffed out by the Varian. Some of the members are coming in. They do have Gust for the disengage. They also have Phoenix for the zoning. They are just going to unleash it. The bird does go out. They call out for the retreat. So it does pull the enemy team off of that mid beacon phase, and it saves them a little bit of time, but I don't think they're going to be utilizing the time that they're getting to their advantage. I think that they might have been trying to pull them off and then go into their beacon and steal it. I'm not sure. But they're going to go ahead. They're going to work on their 13s. Falstad will fly into the top to push back that wave a little bit more. So while we have this posturing, the Artanis is all by himself. He does get taunted. There is the whip back. There is a stun from the Uther. Do they get the Tyrande stun? They do. There is the Aegis Ring of Frost. Nope. The Ring of Frost is not used. They do not collect the extra kill. Just wanted to peek at some of these questing taunts. They've saved their top fort for so long. I just want to see this. Just so little health. So they're going to try and see if they're taking boss. Artanis is about halfway through his stacks. Dahaka's done. Kael'thas is almost done. Uther's getting there. And Tyrande is just 7 stacks in. But here is a huge engagement. The Bloodlust is out. There's a huge Ring of Frost. The Starfall is out as well. That is one member already falling. That's going to be there. Artanis. The adaptation does not proc in time. The Starfall is doing so much damage. The Gust is there for the disengage. They only lose 2 members. And this is probably going to be a free boss for Team Lizhorn. They have the advantage in the fight. They have their 13s just like the enemy team. So this is going to be a free boss. Now, granted, it is going up against a fort in bottom that still has majority of the gate and one of the towers left. So Some of it will be delayed, but at the same time, they are still going to be taking this asset off of the map for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so the hard camp was picked up in top lane by Pete's Angels. And so this boss is, ooh, it's going to be pushing in quite hard here. And with the 4-man in bottom, the stun is out onto 3 of the members. They get stacked up. So it's 4v4 currently. Uther does get a little bit of damage out. The stun is there onto the Dahaka, but it looks like they're just utilizing a lot of their abilities just to zone the members away. They don't want to take this fight yet. Kael'thas is not here. And it looks like with the Kael'thas being up and the fort guaranteed, they're going to go ahead and back off here. Rhaegar looks like he has been cleaning up that top lane hard camp. This should be killed before the keep gate. And Rhaegar wants to... Okay, I thought he was going to go ahead and try and get that fort. So he went ahead and collected the vision. This is a middle temple at this point, so they are going to go ahead and, with those first shots, instantly confirm the fort. They're going to party bush here a little bit with a couple of the members. We do have, this is the full 5-man, and here we go into our engagement. There is the slow from the Rhaegar, but there is a whirlwind from the Kael'thas. Adaptation was used right away, I believe. Starfall is there as well. The Phoenix is there for zoning. I'm trying to think of the name. Artanis' ultimate zoned away the Uther for just a little bit, but he kind of just ran around in circle. Purify Beam. The Bloodlust is now out. They get the huge Divine Storm. Aegis is there. It does save one of the members for now, but Artanis will be falling. Gust is available for the disengage. There it is. So they push them away, and they only lose 2 members. They lose 2 members. But we are actually having a chase. The slow is there, but it does not connect. 16 was picked up on the side of Team Lizhorn, and unfortunately, this global is starting to fall apart a little bit here. They're not able to utilize the global the way they need to. That blue beam around Kael'thas means he did finish his questing talent, so he is going to have a little bit extra mana as well as the, I believe it's the shielding from it? No, that's 20, I believe. No, it's the shielding at, yes, maximum mana. Okay. So they are going to be trying to push into this keep. There are no shots left on the towers, so they are going to be going in here extremely deep. There's the Starfall and the taunt onto the Falstead, and he absolutely gets melted. They stand inside this Phoenix, and they say, we don't care. We've got too many healers for this. Kael'thas will get one of the chain bombs out. There is a swap, but it barely misses. The tongue misses as well. And they are really just pushing into this keep. The taunt is there onto the Dahaka. There is a follow-up stun. The Ring of Frost is there, but it does not connect onto him because he has the burrow. But there is the Divine Storm, but ends up killing Uther because he's a little too far forward. The Aegis is there. They do get the Purify Beam out onto... I think it was actually onto Uther, and he died. But that is going to be a keep gate falling at this point, so we are a little bit more of an advantage of structures for the Team Lizhorn, but at the same time, this is a double beacon phase, so we are going to have the teams having to split up here, and this is where we started to see Team Lizhorn a little bit, we see them a little bit weaker because they don't have the advantage of being multiple parts of the map at once. Now they team fight as 5 extremely strong, but if they need to split for these beacon phases, they can't really do their blow up without the entire team. So looks like at this point we are going to have a 5-man rotating into this on the side of Pete's Angels, and we have a couple ultimates down here. Varian is coming in. I don't think he realizes, oh, the whip anti-synergizes, unfortunately, and I didn't think Varian realized that he was all by himself there for a minute. Alright, so we have some of the members posturing up here. The hammering does go out, trying to scout him out. This is going to be started by the Rhaegar. Dahaka is here now, so they can really start to push in this wave as well as push into the enemy team. All the ultimates are up for both, or heroics are up for both teams, so we are going to be seeing an engagement. It's just who's going to make the first move here. There's a lot of posturing at this point from the Varian as well as a lot of the other members, but they're going to go ahead. They're just going to push up that wave, and it looks like they'll get their hard camp and just push have the Dahaka go into bottom and just go ahead and collect this last beacon. They cannot make the rotation quick enough to really contest this, so they're going to have to clear this up. Now, granted, if the entire team does rotate into bottom, they do stay here and clear this minion wave. They can push into a keep, but they're actually going to be collecting the beacon, and they do send a bird down. It does scout out the boss, so they do know that they're coming. Dahaka is not there currently, so they leave the boss. They unleash it. I'm wondering if they're going to start it themselves. Do they sniff out the bruiser camp? So the boss is started on the side of Team Lizhorn. Now, do they go back? Do they take it with the gust? I think they know, but they have to go now. And unfortunately, just a second too late on the gust up from Falstead. So this is going to be a boss at about 15 minutes going over to Team Lizhorn. They push away the variant, so they don't have that initial stun from that, but Kael'thas gets a counter root from his whirlwind just to slow them up so they do not get the blow up onto the Ariel. But they are definitely going to be pushing very hard onto this keep. This is even talent tiers, even levels. Dahaka misses his tongue, and there is the taunt onto the Kael'thas, who Ariel whips away the Varian. That should be no issue. There is a stun onto the Dahaka. Starfall is out, forces some of the members forward or back. There is also the Purifier Beam onto the Uther. Jaina is got so much damage going out onto that Dahaka. Artanis is stalling so low here. They end up losing the keep as the boss falls, and this is exactly what Team Lizhorn wanted. Now, granted, they did lose their fort in top. The hard camp was left alone, and it did... Okay. Oh, we're going to fly? Falstead is flying forward. He is going to be getting onto this Jaina, but there is not enough health for him to survive. There is actually going to be a counter engage from Team Lizhorn, and that's going to be Dahaka falling. Unfortunately, I don't think he had Burrow to combo with the adaptation there, as well as enough essence to really sustain there in that fight. Kael'thas barely gets away. The Bloodlust is used right away, but Jaina gets a combo and slows Kael'thas, and he will be falling here. This is going to be the chase on the Ariel. Now, they are currently losing a keep to the Siege Giants in bottom. There are 2 temples up at this point, so they can go ahead, capture both of these. There is a swap onto this Rhaegar. Does he have the ability to get away here? He is mounted in his Z form. Ariel will be hearthing back to get full. And it looks like they will be giving this up at this point. Now, top was de-pushed, so that's not going to be a big deal. They lose the gate, but not both the towers. So that's going to be a nice defense. They leave 1 minion. They leave 1 minion, and he's going to be the reason that they lose it, unfortunately. So we are going to be having this bottom one, or mid one, is going to be going over to Team Lizhorn, and we are having, it looks like all the members reporting to top for Pete's Angels. They do sniff out this Rhaegar, who was trying to solo here. A huge swap, but there is the shields from the Uther, or excuse me, the Rhaegar actually casts shields on himself, and there is going to actually be a huge starfall as well, and that is going to be Jaina falling here, but they do get the counter kill onto the Ariel and the Artanis. The Divine Storm is so strong here. There is no gust. Actually, there is a gust to push them away, but he does not use it. And that will be Dahaka falling here as well. Now, they do get the chase and the taunt onto the Varian. They do save the KT with the gust now. And it looks like they are going to be losing bottom from just the minion push-up at this point. Or excuse me, mid at the minion. And they are going to be losing top. Now, if they control both of these, this is... Oh, I thought that was a bug. I was like, I do not see a keep in bottom game. I think with them controlling both of these, this should be good game, yes. Unfortunately, they do not have the ability to counter this. And it looks like the last shots will be going over to Team Lizhorn. GGs are thrown out, and well played by both teams.